Hello guys and welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. Wow, now a busy weekend of boxing and this is our reaction or my reaction to Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora 3. Now I'm not going to lie guys, we'll get straight into the main event. That wasn't a comfortable watch for me. Derek Chisora did exactly what we expected him to do, exactly what he said he would do. He came out from the first bell, went after Tyson Fury's body, and for the first 30 seconds I thought, are we gonna see something special? Is it written in the stars? Is it one of those nights? And then from, as I say, 30 seconds into the first round, Tyson Fury just was teeing off on Derek Chisora at times. It was uncomfortable. It really was. And for me, from the fourth, definitely the fifth round, I was thinking that potentially the referee should be looking at waving it off. You know, Tyson Fury at various points was looking to Victor Lachlan to say, you know, you're going to intervene here. Don Charles, obviously, long-time cornerman of Derek Chisora, he didn't step in either. And he even told Victor Lachlan in between the 9th and 10th, you know, I'm in the corner. And at times in this, I think it was in the 6th to 7th round, he'd said, oh no, he was telling Chisora it's close. And I'm a huge Derek Chisora fan. Anyone who's watched this channel for, you know, any period of time knows that. However, this was the mismatch that we sadly predicted it would be. And there's no getting around that. You know, I just hope, you know, post-fight, Derek Chisora said, we are friends. We have sorted the fight in the summer. I hope he does just go off into the sunset with the, you know, the rumored $2 million payday that he got for tonight. You know, he's a Londoner. Good to see him go out at Spurs in front of 60,000. The end of the fight itself, guys, again, Fury just teeing off. I mean, by the end of it, Chisora's face was just mashed up. You know, left eye shut in. Well, both eyes, in fairness, damaged. Mouth all split. Just not a good look. And the referee did wave it off in the 10th round. Fury is what Fury is, isn't he? He's brilliant. And I only wish he could stop contradicting himself outside of the ring because it'd make him much more likeable overall. But he got the win tonight as predicted. Then post-fight, it all went a little bit WWE, should we say, because Oleksandr Usyk was there, obviously. That's the fight we all want to see. Let's not get that twisted. For the Undisputed, there's now issues with the IBF. Obviously, they've mandated Filip Hrgovic. The WBA now are also saying, well, hang on, we've got a shout here, you know, chronologically. Anthony Joshua fought Povetkin. That was 4 years ago now. Okay, we've had COVID, but should they be next? Obviously, the IBF mandatory was last fought with Pulev in December 2020. So lots of debate, and I do think we're going to ultimately see the belts fragmented. But for me, whether it can be made, I don't know. But I would even like if we could get Fury Usyk for the Undisputed title, but it's signed, it's agreed that post that fight, the belts get vacated so as the next available contenders can fight for them immediately. But to say Lennox Lewis was our last undisputed heavyweight champion is just far too long ago. Where we need that changing. But post-fight in this one, Usyk gets on the apron. Fury's, you know, his usual charismatic self, isn't he, with the trash talk. He's calling him, you know, Gappy too, said he's going to write him off. Said, and rightly so, in fairness, already beat one Ukrainian in Klitschko, he'll do another one. And that's the fight we want to see. Obviously, it's long been muted in Saudi. Eddie Hearns even said with Prince Khalid, you know, they're trying to make that fight. That's the one they want. And the bit for me where it gets a little bit farcical is then Joe Joyce then gets on the apron and, you know, he's like, oh, I want a bit too. And Fury's like, well, if Usyk doesn't have it, me and you will do it at Wembley. And Joe Joyce is a more than credible contender. But for me, Joe Joyce just needs to be a little bit patient because Fury Usyk's the fight we want. It's the fight we need to see. And it's probably both fighters' biggest paydays. I mean, I know Usyk's even talked about potentially that fight and he's done. Obviously, there'd be a rematch clause, but who knows? That's the fight we want. It did all get a bit farcical and a bit pantomime, but nearly Christmas, it is the season. Moving down the card, it doesn't really get any better, to be totally honest, guys. Daniel Dubois versus Kevin Lerena. Now, when this was initially announced, I slagged it off something rotten. At the time, I think Lorena was 14th ranked with the WBA. Obviously, there was all the whispers they'd tried to make the Lucas Brown fight and couldn't make it. Obviously, with the British Boxing Board rejecting Lucas Brown. Now, everyone's got a view on that, and that's for a different video. However, Lorena, then a lot was made by Frank Warren and the team. Always a southpaw, smaller guy, shares a lot of characteristics that Usyk does. The WBA situation, we're building Dubois towards an Usyk fight. But then in the same breath, he's also pushing Fury Usyk. But that's just another Frank Warren line, isn't it? Whatever. The reality is, Daniel Dubois fought the weakest available contender for this WBA belt. And for me, the biggest frustration is the fact that the commentary team and BT kept referring to him as world champion. I've, again, been very vocal around the regular title situation with the WBA. And the only one I feel sorry for is Lee Wood, because he did beat the best available featherweight. It just so happened that even for Kanju, the WBA was still protecting Leo Santa Cruz. But again, different topic. So you can't masquerade Daniel Dubois as a world champion. And this was a poor fight. And it was a poor fight in the ring. There was a lot of talk on social media that Lorena would do the business and he'd cause problems. And he kind of did. First round, best way of explaining it is just to tell you what happened. The first round, Dubois came out, and for me, he didn't look confident, during the ring walk. Sort of Shane McGuigan took the lead on it. It was just a little bit strange, and you sat there thinking, okay, bit odd. The bell rings, he doesn't look confident. Lorena eventually lands a shot on the top of the head, so a bit of a funny shot, but in the stumble from Dubois, whether he rolled his knee, the commentary team were talking about an ankle, but post-fight, definitely, McGuigan was talking about a knee, but we'll get to that. And Dubois went down 3 times. And for me, it was just Dubois looking for a way out. He took a lot of criticism in the Joe Joyce loss for, again, quitting. And I thought, here we go again. I really did. I thought this is the end of Daniel Dubois. I'm not his biggest fan, never have been, but I thought this is the end. Second round. Now, if you're Kevin Lorena, you've got your golden ticket here. You're fighting on a big show in a stadium event. Tyson Fury undercard. You know the queue. Potentially, you could find yourself either with an Usyk fight or fighting for a vacant super title, or, well, just the main title. You should have come out for it. Shane Wiggins telling Dubois, don't even throw a hook, just throw jabs. And there's one little snippet here, and Carl Frampton so rightly pointed it out. Daniel Dubois said what happened in the corner. Now, that's a sign of concussion. And for me, I know it's boxing, so, people will get hurt. But in a time when we talk about brain injuries and concussions and all the other sports are sort of clamping on it, potentially that's one for me that the corner should have been like, oh, well, hang on a minute. We need to have a little think about this. But they didn't. They gave him good advice, in fairness, just use your jab, stay away from him, get the leg, get the feeling back, let's try and work out what's going on. And Dubois did it. But for me, the issue I've got with it is, why didn't Lorena dive all over him? Because you just would, wouldn't you? That's your golden ticket moment. You stop him. At the very least, you're going to make an absolute fortune for the rematch with Daniel Dubois. But instead, Lorena just did nothing. I don't even, a lot of allegations on social media around, almost like Lorena remembered that he was not supposed to win. And I hate those sort of accusations. I appreciate there's a dirty side to any sport, but with fans, we want to just think everything's fair and right as it should be. But it was just a bizarre second round. Then we get to the third round. Dubois starts to get a little bit more confident. He got a knockdown. Great shot landed. Used his jab well, straight right, with about 40-odd seconds left. And then he was all over him. In fairness, and a lot of the shots weren't landing flush. A couple did, but it was one of those. It was a flurry of punches from Dubois. And probably of the 8 shots, 2 landed flush. He went down again, Lorena. And instead of counting, the ref just waved it off, but it was on the bell. So, as you would expect, the BT commentary team doing a massive hype job on Daniel Dubois. But for me, he needs to go away, potentially get a knee injury assessed. Although post-fight, he said his knee was fine. So whether it was a shot on the top of the head and it's just scrambled his senses, who knows? But Shane McGuigan and Frank Warren were talking about swelling. They didn't actually show us his legs, so we didn't actually get to see if there were. But he needs to go, potentially get an injury assessed, see what the crack is. But one thing's for sure, and the main thing we've actually learned tonight, in fairness, is Daniel Dubois is not ready for elite level competition in the heavyweight division. For me, Joseph Parker would be a great shout because it's a step up and probably where he should be fighting if he's a regular champion. But Joseph Parker's, not the force that we possibly thought he was. Dylan White's name was mentioned. Those are the fights he should be looking at, particularly after White's performance last week, which left us wanting more, shall we say. So that was it, guys. Not a great night, but good to see Fury march on. Great to see Chisora get that payday. Hopefully he retires now and goes and spends some time with his family with a few quid in the bank. Frank Warren's ripped off the public again, guys. £27 for a bit of a bizarre night of boxing. But there we go. Guys, hit the like and subscribe button. We've got plenty more content, including an incredible interview dropping on Monday, but more on that then.